Okay, so page 165, find the unknown measures of angles on a line. So AC is a line. You're right, this is way better. Oh, this is great. I love this. Thank you. So AC is a line. Here's A. Here's C. And here's B. And says, hey, this is 55 degrees. This is X degrees. What? Oh, sorry. This is X degrees. Find the measure of the angle on the line. So it wants us to find the measure of angle X. Measure of angle X equals. So when you're trying to actually, I need you to be looking at the board if you actually want to be doing well in this class. When you're trying to find the measure of an angle, then you'd say, hey, measure of angle X. And we know since this is a line, this angle plus this angle add up to be what?
180.
180. So we can just say, hey, 180 equals 55 plus, well, we don't know what this is. That's called a variable. You guys heard of variables before? Yes? No? Okay, so anything that you don't know in math oftentimes is called a variable or an unknown number. Like it varies. If you've heard that something varies.
-55.
No, not yet. If you've heard that something varies from something else, then that means it might change or you don't know what it is. So this is a variable. So you say 55 plus x, and this is an equation. So you solve the equation. You have to get the x by itself. It's adding 55. So to get it by itself, just a second, you're ahead of us. To get it by itself, you have to do the opposite of adding 55, which would be subtracting 55. With equations, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other because it needs to be balanced out. It's an equal equation. Right now, 180 equals 55 plus x. If you take away 55 from this side, you have to take 55 away from this side. So if we're subtracting 55 here, gotta subtract 55 there. Now we have x equals, what's 180 minus 55? Now you can.
Huh?
What's 180 minus 55?
180 minus 55 is 125.
Yeah, 125, and specifically is 125 degrees. I mean, if this degree sign is already here, you could technically say just 125. Back there, that's your second one. You can finish up your stuff, move up over there, tell them, you can say it's because you don't know how to wear your mask. Not working for me, yeah?
I don't get it.
Don't get what?
What you're doing with the 55, minusing the 55. I thought all you had to do is
Subtracting, you are not minusing.
Yeah, minusing's not a thing.
well, subtracting, because I thought all you had to do was just measure the angle.
So you can measure the angle, but if you already know 180 minus 55 is what this is, because you do know this is a line, right? You can assume this is a straight line. If that's 55, you don't need to measure the angle. Yes, you can use the protractor to do it, but the purpose of this is the purpose of this is not to test, do you know how to use a protractor? Some parts of the assignment do test, do you know how to use a protractor? This is not measuring how to use a protractor. This is seeing, do you know that two angles on a line add up to what?
180.
180.
All you have to do is 180 minus 55,
Exactly.
and that's all you have to do.
Yep.
That's easy. That makes sense.
Great.
Well, I was just not getting it.
So again, 180 minus 55 here. This is showing you, you don't need to do this. This is with an equation right here. Some of you have nonverbals, have any of us seen equations before? Yes, some, a little bit. We'll work with them more, but I want to show you what they look like now because you're going to be using them all the time going forward. So 180 equals 55 plus x, or you can just look and say, hey, this is 180 degrees, subtracting 55, that's going to give me the 125, that angle right here. All right, bottom of page 165, we got another one. This is the coolest thing ever.
Why does it look so different? Easier.
So this is way easier. Everything is so much cleaner and
Why does it
nicer.
look so much different though? Just as
All right, so
I broke it.
x.
I have to do it.
Hey, look, here's your origin. Congratulations.
Organ.
You get one this time.
Here's your organ.
There's your
Oh,
z,
I love my origins.
w,
For winner.
v,
V for
y, 65 degrees and, whoops, that's 47 degrees. So, we've got these three. If we add them all up, we know that they're going to equal
180.
180. So I can say, hey, 47 plus 65 plus y equals
700 million.
180. So I have to add those two up. Adding them up, I get what?
180.
This together, you do not get 180.
Oh, you get
Think, 40 plus 60 is
I know,
100
I know.
degrees. You have 5 and 7 left
know.
over. 5 plus 7 is,
it's 112.
yeah, 112.
So you could do
112 plus y equals 180.
What is y?
Well, how do we figure it out? If we know that these two add up to be 112 and all of them add up to be 180, that's why, again, I use the equation here. What do I have to do?
112 minus 180.
You don't take 112 minus y.
So basically, any little number thing equals 180?
All of these numbers, see, they're on the line. We know all the numbers on the line add up to 180. All the angles, all the angle measures have to add up to 180. We know this is 47 and this is 65. We can add them together, which is 112. So we know this is 112 degrees worth, and this one, you have to add 112 plus whatever this one is to get 180.
So anything that's beside there, so even if that was like an x, that would still be 180.
It doesn't matter what this variable is.
Oh, that's, never mind then.
Regardless of whatever this variable is, you have to add these three up to get 180. Your book needs to be open. You need to be on page 165. Yes?
Do you know how to find out what y is?
Well, I hope you do.
You take away 112 from 180.
That's what I said.
Well, you gotta take over 112 from this side first. Then you take away 112 from that side. Because think about it, if I had a 112 degree angle here, and whatever else, whatever was left, you would say, hey, 180 minus this is gonna get you what's left over.
I know what
Y is what?
Uh,
Someone else got it first?
68.
Yep, 68 degrees.
Quick math. That's an A.
You can actually do the 180 minus 112, you're still gonna get 68.
That's why.
You say, hey, that's 10, this is 7, 8, 6, 0, 68.
So can you just like when you use a protractor, can you just figure
No,
out?
you cannot use a protractor on this part.
No, like in any problem, if I wanted to find this out and can you do like use a protractor on two sides and then in the middle use this?
Well, if you already did two sides, you might as well just, if you're not gonna have stuff, they're not gonna give stuff for you, because the point of the protractor is, can you see about how many it is? Remember, the protractor is not exact. If you were to take the protractor on this one and measure it, you would probably say, hey, it looks like it's about 70 degrees, but you probably would not be able to figure out, hey, it's exactly 68 degrees.
Wait,
Because
how do you
it's
know
part-
that it's about 70 degrees?
Well, because I know it's 68 degrees actually.
No, that.
With a protractor, how would you know?
Yeah.
Well, if I took,
No, how did you know without using a protractor?
I didn't know. I'm saying, if I used a protractor, I would probably see, hey, it's about 70 degrees. Because it is actually about 70 degrees. It's just not exactly. That's why with this, if we're told the exact angle measure, you want to do 180 minus so you can get the exact angle measure. Using a protractor, unless you have a very, very precise protractor, which you guys don't, unless you have a very, very precise one, it's just going to get you in the ballpark. And that's important to know how to use it so that you can get in the ballpark of whatever it is. But when you are told the exact angle measures, you want to use, this is algebra. Algebra, I know algebra is a big name and you guys are scared of it. Do you guys know algebra is just 2 plus 2?
Yes.
2 plus 2 is literally algebra. All algebra means is that you're using order of operations, so adding, subtraction, multiplication, division, parentheses, exponents, any of those with numbers and or with variables. Now it gets a lot more complicated, but 2 plus 2 is still algebra. So when you hear algebra, don't get scared because you already know algebra. Yes?
So for example, 68 degrees, why do they call it degrees if that's the weather? Why don't they say 68 angle?
That's a really great question. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. I also don't know why they did 180. I'm sure there actually is a good answer as to why it's 180 degrees. But I don't know.
Like, oh, it's 360 outside. It would.
Okay, so I think we need some practice with this.
Unless it's negative.
It's 360 degrees. I hope you mean outdoor.
All right, so you guys can do. Let's see. We're gonna do number 4,
For what?
number 6,
You can't use your protractor. Protractor. Hey, where are we?
number 7.
4, 6, 17.
No, I lied. We're not doing 7. 8 and 9.
Wait.
In your small groups, when you're done with those, you can start on the assignment.
What group am I?